6 o'clock on Monday, the 4th of November 2019. Good evening and thank you for tuning in to the English edition of Ora News. My name is Alexandra, bringing you the only daily update of the local Albanian news translated into English. The United States of America has raised questions about the Chinese company Huawei, which will build the 5G network in Albania. Through a post on Facebook, the United States Embassy raises concerns that the company may misuse the personal information of Albanians. According to the United States, there is reason to act with caution in relation to the company that is producing and selling the 5G network worldwide. The statement said that there is a law in China that requires companies to help the government spy. That means there is no way to challenge the government if it orders a company to spy or steal. Among other things in the post is that the Chinese company Huawei also has a history of ethical violations, including stealing secrets from its competitors. The US notes that in Western countries, citizens have the right to pursue legal action in the case of data theft, but such protection does not exist for Chinese companies. After the US Embassy raised concerns about the risk the company that is expected to build the 5G network, the Albanian politicians also denounced the government's silence on the issue. According to Petrit Vasili, besides the risk of misuse of personal data being problematic for the citizens, the fact is that the government is still unwittingly ignoring American concern. 5G technology promises to bring numerous innovations to the mobile service and is expected to be up to 100 times faster than 4G. Prime Minister Edi Rama has refused to appear in interpellation with the opposition in Parliament to answer on the case of Alvin Berisha, who is in Syria's Al-Hol camp. Edi Rama did not entrust this appearance to the acting foreign minister either, who was forced to leave a few minutes after he appeared in Parliament after it was decided that it would be Elisa Spirapali who would answer the minority's questions. This tactic by Rama was considered as an intention to ignore by MP Andi Permeti. Elisa Spirapali did not respond as to what steps Albania is taking to withdraw Albanians from Syrian camps, so as she says, to do so would undermine any potential operation. Another challenge facing operational groups in war zones is the difficulty of identification, as many do not have Albanian documents. 11-year-old Albanian Alvin Berisha was abducted by his mother 5 years ago and is already wounded, being housed in the Al-Hol camp in Syria. Attending a cultural event today, President Ilir Meta avoided commenting on whether he would decree a new election date for the Vora municipality, nor was he willing to discuss the assassination attempt on prosecutor Arjan Ndoye, focusing solely on the exhibition Notre Dame de Tiran by artist Avni Delvina. The exhibition comes in support of the cause of artists and citizens in defence of the National Theatre. The artist never misses the chance to have a crack at some of the characters of art, culture, media, politics and beyond, even incorporating President Meta himself. Inside the theatre, which according to him has become the epicentre of drama, he said the cause of the civic resistance was to fight injustice and arbitrariness. The head of state said that people should rise up and rebel whenever dignity, sovereignty, freedoms or rights are violated. Dialogue in order to find a solution to the National Theatre issue is being sought. Delaying the opening of negotiations with the European Union could destabilise the Balkan region and create opportunities for countries like Russia and China. In different interviews for the prestigious British publication, The Financial Times, the Albanian Prime Minister Edi Rama and his North Macedonian counterpart Zoran Zaev said the decision not to open accession negotiations resulted in a heavy psychological shock for both countries and harmed the bloc's credibility in the region. We were cut twice from Europe brutally, once for 5 centuries under the Ottoman Empire and then for half a century under the most brutal communist regime. No one can live with the idea that there can be a third time and that this time it could be Europe itself that decides to sever us brutally, said Prime Minister Rama. Reiterating the scepticism of countries such as the Netherlands, Denmark and especially France, Rama says their argument against enlargement, with the reason given as the European Union reform, is unconvincing. Edi Rama said the need for internal EU reform was not really a standing alibi for what is the core issue. Europe is in a period where it will get worse before it will get better, and we are just the collateral damage of that, added Mr. Rama. Mr. Zaev said he was worried that the sensitive agreement he negotiated with Greece last year, which resulted in the country he leads being renamed, could be revisited amid a resurgence of nationalist sentiment. The name change was an important step on the road to joining the EU, but was contentious in both countries. Mr. Zaev warned that further implementation of the deal struck with Athens was now at risk. Part of the process is irreversible, but I worry there could be a return to the bad past that we had, he said, noting the multi-ethnic nature of his country shared between majority Macedonians and ethnic Albanians. If there is enough nationalist rhetoric, radical actions or speeches in North Macedonia, that will give weight to the arguments of Greek politicians to support the use of the same kind of rhetoric. And that could lead everyone to take concrete steps which will not be good for my region or my country, concluded Mr. Zaev. Girocastra is in an emergency situation and endangered by the floods created by the first intense rainfall for November. Around 100 dwellings in the Cordoza neighbourhood of Lazarat are at risk of falling into the Sopot stream as a result of damaged embankments. Meanwhile, in the city, the flooding of the Chulo River has endangered homes and nearby residents, despite emergency intervention to keep the situation under control. Even the lake of Viroi is at risk of breaching its banks, having reached its maximum capacity as heavy rainfall continues. Meanwhile, more than 200 residents are in danger of being isolated in Van of Delvina as floodwaters of the Kalasa River have damaged 1 foot of the bridge. In the city of Durrës, pedestrians and vehicles found it difficult to circulate as the weather had covered several centimetres of roads. As has become a rather unfortunate tradition, problems have been encountered in all main streets of the city. Due to bad weather, work at the port of Durrës and Vlora has been suspended for fishermen and loading and unloading. Ferries from Italy to Durrës were delayed, while in Vlora the ferries have not been arriving for the past 2 days. In the port of Saranda, the storm also showed the level of sea pollution by delivering all the waste to the shore. On the Fushkruya-Tirana highway, the biggest problem is the underpass flood near the Fush-Mamuras bridge, a black spot in the infrastructure that always floods when heavy rain hits. Meanwhile, according to the Institute of Geosciences, Energy, Water and Environment, intense rainfall will continue. Furthermore, Shkodra has also been added to the flood risk map. Even though the first hearings for the directors of the State Police set to undergo vetting have not yet started, the Assessment Commission has already published the second round list of directors expected to be reassessed. In the second list, 47 names are to be verified, most of them police directors across the counties. The second list focuses on leaders of the State Police and the Guard of the Republic who will be evaluated on 3 criteria: that of wealth, figure and professional skills. The list is published on the website of the Assessment Commission. The first list came out in July this year and consisted mainly of senior police directors in Tirana and the districts. Under vetting law, anyone found to be related to crime will be permanently expelled from the police service. The new changes will include an external evaluation commission that will vet about 250 high-ranking staff, while the Internal Affairs and Complaints Service will carry out the vetting process for police officers. Meanwhile, the lack of coordination between the institutions and the delay in the return of answers has caused delays in the overall process of vetting amongst the ranks of the police. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join us again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Ora News, thank you and good night.